Hello. So what I wanted to show you today was how I've been doing my pumpkin heads. I think this is different than what I've seen other people do. This is a plastic pumpkin head you can buy online. The place I first found it was at spookyblue.com. They do just a bunch of incredible pumpkin heads, scary pumpkin heads. And they use this as the mold. One thing they do is they do paper mache and they put it over it, then take the paper mache off and then build their pumpkin head with that. What I do is a little bit different because, as you'll see, some of my pumpkin heads, I think my heaviest one is like 50 pounds, and it has to have a whole bunch of structure to it, and you'd never be able to do that in paper mache. So I want to show you a before. So this is what it looked like at the beginning. So here's my first one, and again, I kept the plastic original pumpkin inside, and this is just built up. Again, you can find all the examples of how to do this at that spookyblue.com. I want to give them a plug. You can also buy those pumpkin heads online at multiple places. Amazon, the cheapest place I found I think is True Value. They're around $29, $30 a piece. I think I got my couple of them after Halloween for like 15, 20 bucks, and they'll deliver them to the closest store, which is really cool. So again, this is all built up, but inside, just because of the weight, what happens is they start collapsing once you cut the mouth out. So I've got PVC pipe in here just trying to hold the mouth open because the weight starts getting that big, and this is just screwed in with a piece of wood, and then it builds up. So this one here weighs probably about 15 pounds. So now my next one is this one, and this one weighs probably about 25 pounds. And as you can see, I've built it up way more. This piece here is really substantial. All these have wire in it that I used from like hangers. Same thing inside, there's PVC pipe attached and X'd over just to try to give it some structure, because the weight would again collapse the mouth, which you don't want. So that's another reason. So the way to, instead of using just paper mache, I add a little bit of mastic, tile mastic into it, which is a little bit more of a sticky, because it doesn't, paper mache won't stick to the plastic very well. And then I wrap it underneath here too so that it won't come off, and there's no way that it really wants to pull off once you're done with it anyway. So that's my second. Now this is my third one, and again it starts getting more clear now why you have to have the plastic inside, because in addition to two cross members, I've actually got one going this way now trying to hold it open. And again, these come off, these pull off. I just made it so it comes apart a little bit more. But this is, again, there's plywood disc screwed in here, and then this is all built up with wire and mesh and stuff. And this one here probably weighs about 35 pounds. I've got it on a Lazy Susan swivel because I use a motor once I attach it to the bodies, and then it just swivels like this. And I've got a light in there and stuff. But again, the reason you have to keep the plastic pumpkin to start with is just because it gets so heavy that you got to have more than just the paper mache. And finally, my last one, which again becomes really apparent, but this one here, this one weighs about 50 pounds. And the same thing, it's really top heavy, but there's plywood discs here, then I did cardboard discs, and I ran I used hanger wire and built it out and stuff, but these alone, there's no way that just a paper mache would be able to hold all this, because again, this weighs about 50 pounds. So I've got cross bracing in it, and I've got cross bracing this way, and it's really easy. Just put the PVC pipe in there, put a couple screws through the plastic to hold it in place, and that's all you need. It's mainly just trying to keep the weight all together. Again, this thing weighs 50 pounds probably. Same thing, it's on a Lazy Susan swivel, so I'll put it on my big, I got 8-foot skeleton or structures that they sit on, and a motor then will move it back and forth. Same thing, there'll be a light inside, but the whole process is what I wanted to show everybody, is that instead of just taking the plastic pumpkin as a mold and building a paper mache. I'm actually, that plastic pumpkin's still part of this in there on top of all this stuff, and it's the only thing that's giving it enough strength to even start building something like this, which would be like 50 pounds. And again, the way I do it is still just paper mache. Some of this stuff you'll find online, how you make kind of a mush, and that's how you build it up. I paint it all black first, and then I touch up from the outside to get some of the thickness on it. And again, it's just, there's a ton of weight in this, and that's why I use the plastic pumpkins in addition to all the paper mache versus just making a mold out of it. And again, this is something I haven't seen before, so I wanted to show everybody. Apologize for my production quality. I'm not much of a videographer, and so I'm just trying to do this all in one take. So hopefully it comes out okay, and you can just see some of the things you can do. Again, what I'm trying to get across is that by keeping the plastic, I actually started with 1/2-inch plywood, that disc that's screwed in and glued to the plastic inside, which is right here. You know, they're right on here, and that's how I used for a base, and that wire went inside, and it came out like this, and that's the only way I could figure. There's no way I think you could do something like this heavy and big on just paper mache itself. So any questions, let me know. Thanks.